Trump's main crux, and I'm saying this in layperson's terms, not in legalese, is that federal agents somehow are in danger and the city's in rebellion.
We're going to go to the northeastern state of Maine. Thousands have taken to the streets to demonstrate against the Trump administration, part of the wave of what they call the No Kings protests. Let's talk then, first of all, to Rachel Owen, state government and politics reporter for the Portland Press-Herald. Welcome to you, Rachel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Very, very welcome. So Rachel, just by way of background, your state has a Democrat governor, but a Republican United States senator. It is an important battleground, isn't it? But we saw large crowds in Maine turning out at the weekend for the anti-Trump No Kings demonstration. What did that tell you about the mood in your state of Maine?
Yeah, we did see quite a few people turn out for the No Kings protests, several thousand, which is a lot for Maine. It's a pretty small state. And I think it reflects a sentiment that you see across the United States, where there are definitely, especially in more Democratic states, which our state is more Democratic with the exception of having a Republican senator, that people are really frustrated with the Trump administration and their policies and actions, especially when it comes to things like immigration. And I mean, that is a big one here, is a lot of the immigration stuff.
Yeah.
So people were really galvanized to come out for these protests, and we had a similar round of protests in June, and there were also a lot of people for those. And I think a lot of people were just excited to kind of voice their opposition to the Trump administration.
Yes. I know that Maine, the population of Maine, they call them Mainers, don't they? Or sometimes affectionately maniacs. But it's the whitest, most rural state in the Republic. And the issues there that resonate most with Mainers. Are we talking about, the big, broad issues like the expanding of the power of the presidency? Does that count as a bread and butter issue for Mainers?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think the Trump administration's, yes, the move towards like more what people see as authoritarian power grabs by the Trump administration, that is a big issue for people here. Yes.
Right. And Maine is also a test, isn't it, for the Democratic Party? I mean, with the next year's midterm election coming up, every contest is going to be important. But Maine, in so many ways, it's going to be a bit of a weather vane for the direction of the Democrats.
I think so. I mean, especially in the Democratic primary for the Senate race, it's very interesting right now because a lot of people have galvanized support behind this newcomer who doesn't have any political experience. He's a veteran and a small business owner from our more rural part of Maine. He's 41. And then we also have our governor who is 77 coming into the race. So she's been around in politics in our state for a long time. And that's kind of something that the Democratic Party across the country is grappling with, is like, more establishment politicians versus these kind of more progressive newcomers. Yeah,
I mean, so the governor of the state is Janet Mills, who, as you say, is very much a political establishment figure, and she's going to be facing a serious threat from the oyster farmer, ex-US Marine Graham yes. Plattner. What are the defining differences between those two?
Yeah, I think it's still really early. And like I said before, like Graham Plattner, he's not someone that's been on the political scene before. So I don't know a lot about how he falls on a whole range of policies. But just from what he said so far, I think he does lean a little more progressive, and he, has tapped into like frustration that people have with the war in Gaza. He's big on, union workers and that kind of advocacy. So I think he will lean a little further left. The governor is progressive on some things, not as progressive on others. She's been very progressive at leading Maine and getting like some of the most liberal abortion rules of any state. But then like we are also talking about gun control right now in the state, and that is something that she's more conservative on. So I think there will be some policy differences. The age is something that people have also brought up, and that difference. So I think those are probably going to be kind of the key to things that define the primary. All
right, Rachel, I'm really interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you for joining us. Now let's cross over to the Midwestern city of Chicago. The Trump administration is looking to the Supreme Court to approve the deployment of National Guard troops in that area. And we can talk to Lynn Sweet, who's the Washington, D.C. bureau chief for the Chicago Sun-Times. Hello, Lynn.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the program. So, your Chicago, very much a key focus of this battle between democratic cities and states and President Trump over the deployment of National Guard troops on city streets. It's quite a test, this, isn't it?
Well, Chicago is the epicenter of all the challenges, the actions, the protests, the reactions of the Trump administration and the National Guard. Everything that is happening nationally on this front is happening and is mirrored in Chicago. And as you mentioned, the latest of many court cases that are churning through just the Chicago federal court system has to do with whether or not federalized Illinois National Guard troops and members of the Texas National Guard can actually be deployed into the streets of Chicago and the surrounding area. So these troops are here, but they're not allowed to do anything because of lower court rulings staying their ability to start doing whatever it was that the Trump administration had in mind for them.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, please ask your question, otherwise I'll just go on. So,
okay. Because the Supreme Court is such an important part of these dramas.
Yeah.
I mean, they have often, though not always, sided with the administration. Where's the money on this one? What are you expecting?
Well, this is the first case of testing the power that Trump has to almost by fiat send in and federalize National Guard troops. There are other challenges, but this is the one the court has taken. We don't know a timetable for anything. The briefs are going to be due later today in about 5 hours, 4 hours. So there's no way to put money down on this until we see what the first initial paper is. And while it is true that the mostly conservative Trump-appointed justices do lean and time again in Trump's favor as he increasingly increases the power of the presidency, there are times where they may have put on the brake or at least a bit. Now, underlying this court challenge is a very interesting concept here. I hope your listeners will find maybe summary of what's happening. Yes, there are protests happening in Chicago, particularly outside of the immigration detention facility in a suburb. But what the appellate panel found in rejecting the Trump administration's bid to let the troops, leave and deploy in the city is that political opposition is not rebellion. Trump's main crux, and I'm saying this in layperson's terms, not in legalese, is that federal agents somehow are in danger and the city's in rebellion. And the lower court judge, April Perry, found that there just wasn't true, no danger of rebellion. And by the way, for people who have been hearing Trump say Chicago's a hellhole, it's dangerous, I am here right now. I went last night to Chicago's Loop, actually to see The Lion King. I took a train, public transit down. I took a 9:30 train back. I got there early. I walked around Chicago's Loop. Beautiful place. Come and visit. I felt and observed nothing was amiss. And I've been in some other neighborhoods, and at the Sun-Times and our partner radio station WBEZ, we are devoted and dedicated to covering this evolving story.
Yes.
If there was a rebellion out there, believe me, we would have reported it.
Yes.
We are the local paper, and we're on top of things.
Yeah, and Lynn, these stories which matter so much on the ground in your patch with national implications, it's repeated in other parts of the United States. We're talking here about nothing less than the definition and redefinition of America. That's not overstating it.
Well, it is certainly at least a drastic change in the direction of the country. So just recently, I did a vertical video. You could find it on the Sun-Times YouTube channel or on TikTok, just ticking through the number of federal programs that President Trump has either ordered slashed or cut just in Chicago and the state of Illinois. Billions of dollars of funding.
Yes.
So again, when I say that Chicago mirrors the nation, we have the struggle between what is the presidential power,
yes,
what is just the regular First Amendment rights of protesters, plus everything else that Trump is trying to do
Yes.
to impact cities in blue states and blue cities.